Pop City. I'm Melissa Neiderman.
And I'm Renae Madore.
And we have a very special guest, someone I know very, very well.
I love it.
Are you allowed to say which person that you've played with gave you a little bit more challenge, not because of their personality, but maybe because of their music?
Creativity.
Like was it more difficult to learn their songs or make sure that you were playing them correct as they would want?
Well, that's all kind of depends. Playing with people in general, people always have to decide what they're going to let slide and what's important to them, Mm-hmm. And usually there's always something that comes up that where there's like a little bit of a thing. And in fact, playing with Chuck Negron,
who
sang,
a challenge.
who sang "Joy to the World," amazing singer. There's something, I think it was just like misunderstanding, something about harmonies or something like that.
Right.
But that was his thing where he just was, wait, I thought you were in a blank, and now I think, and you have to kind of like talk it through. And he goes, oh, okay, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And some people are just kind of like, well, they're aware that we're just doing this on the fly, so we got to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Terry Nunn is actually really particular. I mean, you got to be particular, otherwise you're just letting stuff, get kind of, schlock or whatever. So she's really particular about her arrangements, and no, everybody has to stop. We all stop, but let's have it be a stop before we start, that kind of a thing.
Okay.
And Tommy Heath from Tommy Two-Tone, same way. He lets a lot of things slide, but all of a sudden, there's a harmony he wants me to do, and I forget it one night. He's like, "You didn't do that harmony on the second verse," and I'm like, "Oh yeah." So I, do it the next night, and but if I could brag for a minute, the Paul Young thing was really gratifying to everybody in the band because, our big goal is we just want them to be really happy with it and to feel, that they were just glad that we played with them.
Right.
And so George Nastos, the guitar player of Rick, said, look, I don't want to just learn what the last band he's doing with it. I want to go back to the record and get the right things, because sometimes, somebody will learn something wrong and then other people learn what was wrong, and then you're doing it wronger. I know that's not a word. It's not a word.
Makes up his own.
But that was my thought anyway. So we went back to the record and picked up parts, and we did not play it the way his live bands play them now. And I did ask him by email, hey, we're going back to this is me typing. We're going back to the original thing. Is that okay? Because sometimes maybe somebody doesn't like something on the record. And so, we go back and do it, and why are you doing that? I've told everybody not to do that.
Right.
But two big ones was he has a song called "I'm Gonna Tear This Playhouse Down," and in the original version, the chorus has these samples. They're from a synthesizer called a Fairlight sampler. It's kind of like "Owner of a Lonely Heart," or it's like blank, 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 like little orchestra hits.
Right. Yeah.
So he's got this blunk, like "I'm gonna tear your playhouse," blunk, dun, 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 blunk, and it's these big. That's me doing an orchestra. Blunk.
He's
animated. He's very.
And
very
but nobody
talented.
was doing it, and I thought that's crazy to me because that's the signature sound.
Right.
So I spent a bunch of time going online just trying to find samples, and so I found one, and then I sampled them and changed them to the right key, and I flew them in, and then I sent them to him, and I said, I want to use these. Is this okay? Because maybe he doesn't like it.
Right.
And he actually got excited, and he said, oh yeah, no one's been getting the samples for lately, and that would be great. So all the things that I did, he was actually really excited about. In fact, he asked me to send him the samples so he can give them to future keyboard players to use.
Awesome.
And you said, no, I want to be your future. No.
Yeah. So, we did say, hey, if you're ever in, the States, we're available,
Right.
But so if you're ever in the future hear his future bands playing with the samples, that's my samples that I sent to him for them to trigger to play.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Yeah, and the other thing was, I know I'm getting carried away bragging about myself, but his biggest hit, Every Time You Go Away.
I love that.
The keyboard part goes dun 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 dun, and the keyboard part goes dun 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 dunk 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 dunk. I did not sing that very well, but there's an echo. There's an echo on the piano. So instead of it going bump 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 bump, it's actually going blump 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 blump. Blump bump, blump bump, blump blump, blump blump. And so I got an echo on the keyboard, and I assigned an echo to that part. So I have my keyboard split so I can play regular piano down here, but then when I go up to here, it's a separate keyboard
interesting.
sound.
A lot to think
It's the
about.
same keyboard sound, but it has the echo on it. So if I go down here and it'll go blink, but if I go here, it'll go blink blink.
Oh,
Blink,
interesting.
blink,
I didn't know
blink.
you can split the
Yeah,
keyboard.
yeah. It's called a workstation. You can do whatever you want.
Wow, that's
and
awesome.
And so I have the echo, and so he went, wow, that's the first time I've heard the echo on there. It sounds just like the record. And
Nice.
so we were like, woo.
Yeah.
Yay.
And that's
And everybody
why it sounded
killed.
so good.
Yeah, Siggy, our bass player,
Worked his butt
got
off.
a fretless bass, and some of the parts were some of the more challenging bass parts you'll ever hear.
Wow.
In rock and roll. And so anyway, we were just very excited, and he was really pleased and said, very fulfilling for him. And so
Oh, that's
again,
fantastic.
we're patting each other on the
Yeah,
back.
As you should. Yeah.
So being on the road, I mean, I know you did it. I think the first year you went out, right?
Yeah, and that was just new to me at that point.
Right.
So yeah, for the very first year I joined, we went on tour that
Yeah, but
summer.
I feel like this one's a little bit more grueling. Am I wrong?
Yeah. I mean, some are more grueling than others, and this is probably, I look at it just how many days I'm home a month.
Right.
I was going
And
to say you seem long.
And right now over the course of 6 or 7 weeks, or even 8 weeks, I think I'm
Yeah, it's
home
8
like
weeks.
7 days
Yeah.
out of 2
Wow.
months,
Right.
and that's just not a lot.
Yeah.
And before it was a little more where you'd be out and be home for 5 days,
Yeah.
and then go away for 10 days, come
Mm-hmm.
back for 4 days, and now it was like gone for 21 days, home for 3, out for 14
Right,
days, home for
right.
3, and I'm on the third day,
Right.
and then out for 2 more weeks. But we
little
come
bit
into
more.
LA in the middle,
Yeah.
and then you can come see me
Yeah.
at the YouTube Theater.
YouTube theater.
YouTube theater.
I'll put you on the guest list.
Ooh, I get
Oh.
special privilege. So do you.
Yay, I
Yeah.
love it. Speaking of that too,
Yeah.
how is it as a married couple when he's gone so long? How do you deal
Oh,
with him
I
being...
have my other husband in the other room. That's why.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
that's it. That's how we do it.
Is he,
And you on the
is
road?
he inflatable?
Yes.
Is it-
Yep.
Does he?
How about yours?
Does he take batteries?
Yeah.
Is yours inflatable?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely takes some getting used to, especially because before we started playing with Rick, we were not spending much time apart
Right.
at all. I think the most
Yeah.
time we ever spent apart was when you were teaching and you went to Washington
Yeah,
D.C. for
that was
5 days,
Yeah.
Right.
or something
Oh
like
my
that. That was
gosh.
about it.
Wow.
But
Yeah, no, I did it. I'm used to it now, but this is really long
But
and grueling. And I know Rick, has his moments also. He loves being home.
Yeah.
So I know it was hard on him for a little bit.
yeah, but I have come up. I mean, these are like serious actual tips about
Okay.
as far as us, you and I,
Oh.
connecting and stuff. You're aware of them.
Oh,
But I discovered this is not a recent discovery, but when you're not haven't seen somebody for 10 days or 2
Mm-hmm.
weeks or something like that, you realize that it's better that just do a random call and go, oh hey, to just like text and go, hey, is this a good time to call?
Oh, yeah, right.
You know,
right,
because you could either be in the middle of something,
I could be in the bathroom.
She can be in bed with her floatable,
Yeah, my inflatable, my inflatable.
inflatable doll.
with a rubber ducky.
Rubber ducky.
But, or also just maybe just having not a good moment,
Right.
Yeah.
Like you could, be at just a low ebb or something like
Right,
that.
right.
And so it's also kind of weird because there's times where there have been not on this trip, but there have been times in the past where I'm just really down
Mm-hmm.
and I want to call to check in, but I don't feel like I have any energy to give,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
I
and so
get
I
it.
don't want to call up and you go, hey, and I'm like, hey, and like I'm sucking the energy out of you,
Right,
yeah.
So it's kind of weird. You got to figure out how to be synced because
Right,
I
sure.
don't want to call home unless I've got a little bit of energy to give you and not
Right,
sound all
yeah.
dragged
Well,
out. But-
also FaceTime's helped.
yeah, and that was the other thing is to start FaceTiming more over calling because
Right. Then you have a little bit more
because
of a
if you
connection.
call
Yeah.
and you say something and nobody says anything, you're like, I think this call's going really badly. but if you're at if you're at home on the couch talking, you can have a comfortable silence of a pretty long time.
Right.
Really having the energy to make the calls because it's kind of weird to call home when you're not in a good mood.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I said,
It's
I
like
actually
you gotta
haven't.
psych yourself
I haven't dealt
out.
with on this one, but I have dealt with ones in past ones where
Right.
we got a thing where you're like, you're not calling very much, and later I'm like, I was actually really down and really
He's like,
depressed.
I'm on a date.
Yeah, right.
I'm on a
I've
date,
been
but it's
busy with my girlfriend.
I'm
Sorry.
on a date, but it's a bad date.
His dates are with Rick. You go to dinner pretty much every night. with Rick.
Well, on this
Yeah.
tour too, you're not drinking, so that might have a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah, a
Because
little bit more,
alcohol is kind of
Yeah.
depressing.
Although in general, I don't really drink on the bus tours.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah.
Well,
he
first
did
of all,
it.
I don't like drinking and moving.
Yeah.
I remember doing that in my 20s. Like, we're all going to drive to Vegas, so everybody just has a shot
Yeah.
Oh,
before
yeah.
we get.
No, I can't do that.
Then I'm sitting in the back of the car,
And you get
like with a shot. I'm
nauseous.
like, I don't feel
Yeah.
horrible,
Yeah,
but I don't
yeah.
feel great
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, you're like, this
So,
is not good.
What do
on
they
the-
call those? Roadies? The
Yeah,
drinks you take
right,
with you?
right, yeah.
One for the road. But by the way, I've come up with a really good workout for anybody that wants to get in really good shape.
Oh, I want to see
Is travel with Rick and make him work out every
Oh.
time. Not make him travel with Rick and he'll
He
make
makes-
you work out every time that he works out.
Okay, I need to start
So,
traveling with Rick.
Yeah, like you just have to because you're.
Perfect.
Yep.
And that's why he's in great shape.
That's why he's in great shape,
amazing.
and that's why I'm in better shape than normal because I'm going with him every time that he goes to the
'cause he
gym.
works-
So
So you haven't told us any secrets.
Oh yeah,
Told
she's
you a
still
bunch of
waiting.
secrets.
for
That's not
secrets.
secrets.
All those fans, Rick Springfield fans,
Tell
are
us
dying to hear a
one
little
thing. I'm
secret.
trying to think. I cannot think. Okay, what does he like to eat on the bus?
well, in general, he's a
Steak.
he's a meat and vegetables guy.
Right.
So he's either eating salmon or steak. As far as food that he eats in a pinch, he eats bananas and
Peanut butter.
sandwiches and like peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
Right.
Which,
Oh my
is,
gosh,
that, is
I
that an Elvis thing?
Yeah.
Peanut butter and banana sandwiches are really good.
I
actually.
ate that in college when we trained for
That's a
soccer.
lot of people. I think
Yeah.
he's doing it more for the protein
Probably.
too.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of good things about peanut butter.
Yeah.
So,
And then he likes his toys. So everybody saw his post about all his robots.
Oh, Rick's robots.
Yeah.
oh yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does
Toys.
play with the toys on the bus.
Yeah.
Good, you gotta
We were
stay
playing
young.
with the guns. Whoever gave him the guns, he
Ray
did
guns.
enjoy those. Ray
Yeah.
guns. Yeah, not real guns.
Okay, yeah.
Wind up
Play
robots.
guns.
And the cap guns. He made fun of me because I couldn't remember the name of a cap gun.
I used to have those when we were kids, little cap guns.
Yeah,
Like pa-pow, pa-pow.
yeah. He likes his toys. So.
Yeah,
Love
so
it.
that's my story.
Before we
Yes, good.
finish, I have a question. So I know you have your piano genius. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Where did that come
Yeah.
from?
What was the inspiration behind
Yeah,
that?
well, the reason I did that was at the time
First, tell the audience what piano genius is.
Well, pianogenius.com. It just shows, it explains how to play piano in the way that rock and roll musicians think about piano versus classical piano teachers. Because 10 years ago, actually it's even more like 12 years ago now, I think, when I put it out, the YouTube videos on how to play piano were horrible. And I would watch them and I'd know what the people were trying to say, but I couldn't even really understand because they were doing such a horrible job. So I sat down and said, I'm not a piano teacher, I'm a working musician, but if I was going to show somebody how to play piano, this is how musicians talk to each other. And I explained the basis about how to understand scales and major chords and minor chords and chord progressions and how you can remember them based on numbers instead of letters. And it's been viewed how many millions of times? 13 or 16
Wow,
or
that's
17
amazing.
million.
You got your
I
YouTube
forget at some
award.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
And because of that, all these people started coming on. So I started creating more training. Like, hey, if you like that, you can get a subscription to my membership site and watch all this stuff. And now I've got, close to just 100 plus hours of training all broken down into little pieces. Because, I mean, it's one thing to say you've got 100 hours of training, but, hey, you want to learn piano? Here's 100 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these are all broken down into 5-minute segments. Oh, okay. If you want to do this, watch this 5 minutes.
Right.
If you want to do
That's
this,
great.
watch this 5 minutes.
Right.
And breaking it down into the way that I explain it. And so I've got lots and lots of happy people. And since then, piano training online has gotten a lot better. And I actually
All because
think
of you.
a lot of it is actually due to me.
Yeah, I know.
Some of my competitors actually, joined and took a look at what I'm doing, and there's a couple people that just kind of copied what I'm doing, but mine's better. But and there's some other people that are doing a good job with it now. So thank
Right.
goodness, because
Yeah.
Well, thank
That's
goodness
great.
Emily, our niece, wanted to learn piano. And
that was
Yeah.
all the basis of it. Yeah.
That's great. You're building a little residual income while you're out
Yeah,
on tour.
yeah, and also I keep having to upgrade. I started off with just a regular video camera. Now I'm shooting in 4K.
Wow.
And because the quality keeps getting better, and I keep trying to improve what I'm doing. But yeah, it's very rewarding. I get people just drop me a line. Oh, by the way, since I've joined, now I make money singing at piano bars.
Right.
They call me,
I love
Piano Steve or whatever his name is,
that's great.
and stuff like that. There, people have actually made careers out of it, and
That's
they played
awesome.
at their friends' weddings, or they're playing in church, and all
Right.
based on the training that I did.
Right.
So
Cool.
pretty great.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I
All right,
love
should
that.
we give him the rapid question?
Yes, go for it, girl.
Okay, Tim. If there was something you can go back in time and tell your former self, what would it be?
Well, that's easy. Buy stock in Amazon.
Not like that.
Oh my gosh.
Life advice.
Not just Amazon, Apple. I guess my main thing is I burned out on music. Well, when I moved to Palm Springs, I kind of put aside my aspirations for playing music, not professionally, but playing it as a songwriter, musician, band person, because the whole industry I felt a little chewed up and spit out kind of, and so I wasn't that interested at all, and I didn't pursue it, and I wound up actually becoming really successful doing other stuff that I was doing, but not music related. But I kind of feel like it's missed opportunity now because there's so much interesting stuff that I could have kept my finger in, and the last 10 years has kind of roped me back in
Right.
many ways. But I'd be kind of curious to see what I would have pursued and what new experiences I would have had if I had not done that. But I don't even know if I'd say that I should. It's just one of those.
It's just interesting
yeah.
to see what your life
Yeah,
trajectory
how-
would have
Yeah,
been.
but at the same
Right.
time, I feel very fulfilled as a human being.
Well,
and
thank
so
goodness.
That's a good
I
thing.
don't. I mean, it's not like
Okay.
It's not really wishful thinking.
Right.
Right.
I know it's not a regret.
Curious.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a
So it's
regret.
curiosity
But,
more than anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If you could go to dinner with anyone tonight, dead or alive, who would it be? Don't
You.
say me. I knew you were
I knew he was gonna say that.
No.
Goodness
You have dinner with her
gracious.
all the time.
Yeah.
Other than her.
And don't say Rick.
Say Renee.
Gosh, I don't know. I feel like it should be a piano player.
Yeah, I know. So I was going to yell out Elton
Yeah,
John,
and
Billy
I'm,
Joel.
I'm
Yeah.
concerned that Elton John might not open up to me if we had a one-on-one.
All right. I know
I'm gonna say maybe Billy Joel would be the better
Yeah.
dinner date.
Yeah.
Nothing against Elton John, but I kind of feel like Billy would be more effusive
I
and
agree.
kind of
Yeah,
spill his guts
sure.
about talking about stuff. So maybe Billy Joel. I mean, if I had to right now pick that,
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Barry Manilow would be a good pick. But then
Well,
I'd have to
I'd
bring you.
She
Yeah,
would have,
then-
Melissa would
bring
have
me.
to come.
Okay, last question. If you have a fear of something and you wish you could get rid of it to do it, is there something in your life that there's something you really want to do but you fear doing it? What is that? And if you could get rid of the fear, would you do it? I mean, you've already bungee jumped. We keep giving that example.
I
And
know.
he's done the
He's
bungee
done that,
jumping, so
okay.
you're not afraid of that.
I'm not really fear-based
Yeah,
that
it's
much.
interesting.
Yeah.
A couple of people have said that.
I'm not ruled by fear at all. Actually, I don't mean I'm fearless.
Right.
I try to be very practical.
But there's nothing that's your fear is holding you back from doing.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah, and well, you know what? Interesting thing is, as far as fears, having played with Rick and now all the other people that we
Mm-hmm.
played with and stuff, it's interesting that I have no fear of large crowds anymore.
Right.
And I do remember this going back. The hardest crowd is actually playing for just a few people that aren't friends of yours, just sitting there.
Right.
It's just kind of weird. I remember I was playing a piano bar in Santa Barbara by the beach,
God.
and it was an actual piano bar where there were seats built into the piano.
Oh
and
my
I was playing, and this couple came and they sat down. Just literally, they just walked over. This is their glass, and they set it down. And then and I'm right here, and they just
Yeah,
went,
you
they just
will.
went like this. And I'm
And just
like,
staring at you the whole
And
time?
I'm like, oh, don't worry, I'm not gonna spoil it.
No, pick up habits from Rick.
And I'm like, feelings. I don't do feelings.
Yeah.
But they were just not locking. They were just not breaking eye contact. And I'm like, boy, this is awkward. But when you're playing to thousands of people, there's no responsibility to lock onto anybody. You can just look
Yeah,
out.
but he
Right.
does. Just to let you know.
Yeah.
He
But I'm not. But there really is no difference. You bring in the same gear to play at a club as you do on a very large venue. They just put mics and they run it
Right.
through the PA.
Right.
So playing large venues it's the same as playing clubs, and I mean, one of the weird thing, I sang the national anthem at the stadium here,
we were there,
which and I wasn't afraid of that at all, and people were like, aren't you nervous? Like, well, first of all, I mean, I get nervous about things going wrong. If I'm playing a song,
so does everybody.
If I'm playing a song and I get off from the rest of the band and I'm just playing the wrong notes, that's bad. But singing a cappella, the worst thing that could happen is you could forget the words and then you just mumble.
Or you squeak. Or your voice
squeaks. Like, that's the worst thing that could happen.
Oh my God.
And or if my voice was going to crack, which it didn't. There's nothing I can control about that, and it's sort of understandable. But it's kind of odd that I was standing in front of thousands of people and wasn't nervous in the least.
Well, and I love the spontaneous stuff when we're at Melvin's and he got behind the piano and there was maybe
That's
7 people there and we had a blast. You were playing for us, remember? We were dancing in front of the piano.
Yeah.
The last time?
Yeah, last time. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I was fearless then because I was very, very drunk.
Oh.
And I can tell because because my fingers won't do what I'm telling them to. I'm like playing the thing, and I'm like,
well, we didn't notice either. We must have been drunk.
I think we were.
Instead of being really precise, my fingers are like, that's pretty close. I don't mean wrong notes. I just mean like I'm gonna hit it now, and I'm gonna hit it now.
That's so funny. That was fun.
All right, well that's good. And now you got you didn't have it before, your fear of doing lip sync. So. There you go.
Oh, yeah. My fear of dressing up as David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, thanks, Gary.
The tight leggings.
Well, thanks for taking the time while you're on your
long tour.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me all the way over here.
Over here?
We had to walk down the hall.
In studio, we A?
No, we're not A, we're B.
We're B.
He's got the big studio.
You know, I was calling Studio B in deference to suggest that this was Studio A.
Oh,
okay, that's
but the other studio has existed longer, so it kind of makes sense to call it.
Yeah, it does.
No offense to Studio
Well,
B,
my drink is almost done, so we need to stop talking.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Cheers to you, Tim. With Tim Gross, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.